you down. It's more, lots more.
Folks, welcome back. You might be at brunch with your Aunt Sally, you might be at the Home Depot, but it is time for us to go all in on the show where it's not wrestling with your budget. It's not wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion. And we are going overseas, bruv, for All In. AEW, let's face it, it has not been the easiest year for AEW, but they need a big event and they need it in the worst way. Speaking of big events and making it happen, if you need that for yourself, get to Batavia Downs, the region's premier entertainment destination. There's something happening every weekend, and you know it's going to only be that much more popping into the fall and football season. Speaking of guys who get it popping, let's get our panel in here. We got Big Slick back in the States. We got the Prophet, Rob Ryan, and we got the head of the table, Markle J. Partham. With that said, short roster today, but big show. We got, 11 matches on deck here, all in?
9 main matches. Sorry, go ahead, Partham.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, great card. Looks like to a lot of people, this is AEW's WrestleMania. Just saw a tweet that Partham sent, and they got a big ass stage with a ramp.
I said that. What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, looks great. Can't wait. Banger card and 50,000 people in Wembley Stadium. It's going to be awesome.
Well, now I got two things to say. First, Slick, respect the Prophet. Second, I heard the intern better be on his best behavior today because I heard he had a little too much fun last night. So I don't want to have to fire another intern today, but just word of advice for the intern.
Poor intern.
We go through a lot of interns. It's like Spinal Tap going through drummers.
Yes, and like Kenny in South Park. Parthy, what do you feeling going into All In here?
I think it's banger matches from top to bottom. It's been some stumbles along the way. Britt and Mercedes had a little Britt and MJF had a little dispute going on, which everybody's been saying from Britt to MJF to Ospreay. It's been a little bit overblown, so let's just put that to the side. I think there was a really strong dynamite leading into this with it was very promo heavy, but I think it was really necessary. You know, Britt and Mercedes sniping at each other across the contract signing table. MJF and Ospreay once again making it even more personal and getting into a pull-apart brawl. And Danielson going full American Dragon at the end and, yes movement and everything. I think there was a lot of momentum built on that last Dynamite going into the show.
But it didn't do a good number, Parthy, and that means it wasn't a good show.
You have to keep doing more shows.
That means it wasn't a good show. That means it wasn't a good show if it didn't do a good number for sure, because we know that based on the chat. So with that said, let's hope they can do a number today with the buys and with everything. I'm sure it'll get spun one way or the other. But ready to jump into picks?
Ready to roll.
Yeah, why not?
Parthy, you ready for picks today? You look hesitant. You look kind of middle ground.
There's only one match I'm kind of hesitant about, so let's just go.
It doesn't matter if you're ready for picks because it's
down. It's more, lots more.
That's strike number one, intern.
With that said, in the first edition of All In 2018, who did MJF fall to? Who was he defeated by?
2018?
Yeah.
Oh,
at the first All In.
Yeah, that's
first All In.
Frankie Kazarian?
No, Frankie Kazarian was in SoCal Uncensored, and they defeated the Briscoe brothers. You had Kenny Omega defeating Penta El Zero. You had the Golden Elite defeating Bandito, Rey Fenix, and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's crazy.
That was like a fever dream. Oh man,
Jay Lethal defeated Flip Gordon. You had Christopher Daniels with SoCal Uncensored defeating Stephen Amell.
Wasn't Hangman, was it?
No. Was it the first match? Was he the lead-in match for that card?
It was the third match, it says, but I don't know. I don't know what the order was necessarily. This guy's in the National Wrestling Alliance currently.
Oh man.
Looks like he hasn't wrestled in years. Oh, someone get their alarm going. All In's coming.
I took care of it.
It's all good.
No,
but any or did I stump you?
Yeah, I think
got
so.
no guesses.
Matt Cross.
Who?
Who?
Exactly. I just checked this guy's Wikipedia page. He hasn't wrestled since 2021. So that just shows, where wrestling and the perspective on 2018. I mean, MJF is a bona fide star now. And you got a guy like Matt Cross going over him in 9 minutes and All In 2018. Now let's stay with All In 2018. Cody comes out with Brandy, Diamond Dallas Page, Tommy Dreamer, and someone named Glacier. I don't know who Glacier is, but shout out
The
to Glacier.
WCW Mortal Kombat guy.
Okay. With that said, in a singles match for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, who did Cody defeat at All In 2018?
Oh, he's the. How do I know who he is? SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis.
Did he get it?
I think he froze, but it's Nick Aldis. Literally.
Yeah, he got it. He got
right
it.
here.
He got it. You lagged out. You froze.
No.
Am I the only one he froze on?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we
so.
heard it.
He did say SmackDown
all right.
General Manager to preface it too, in case you needed proof.
That is fair. That is fair. I heard that. But yeah, Nick Aldis. So the
That's
wrestling
crazy.
world has very much changed since the original All In, as we can tell. I thought those two facts alone speak volumes. But with that said, let's get into picks and let's get going. Brought to you by Batavia Downs, the region's premier entertainment destination. Make sure you're checking in with Batavia Downs every weekend. Any event, get to Batavia Downs. With that said, the event will be starting off. We got a 10-man tag team match. Seems kind of like pre-show. Sammy Guevara is in this match. I mean, which is kind of shocking. It's kind of like, he's like getting pulled out of the back of the closet after having it's like you find like a $20 bill in your jean pocket or whatever. Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Katsuyori Shibata, and the Von Erichs, hint, hint, versus the Undisputed Kingdom and Cage of Agony. I'll lead it off. If Tony Khan somehow books the Von Erichs to lose, I would be I'll be worried for the future of AEW. That's all I'll say. So I'm picking that side to win this one. Slick, what do you got?
Yeah, it's a great point by you. And I think on top of that, Tony Khan, this entire first team, all 5 guys, it's just an excuse to get them on the card and get them a win on a really big stage against a team that can frankly take a loss and people forget about it by next week or Dynamite, even Rampage. So, Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Von Erichs, and Shibata gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say about this one. You guys have made the points. So Rhodes, Guevara, Shibata, and the Von Erichs.
Yeah, I mean, Rhodes and the Von Erichs are Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Rhodes and Dustin and Guevara are the Ring of Honor tag team champions. All the tag team titles of Ring of Honor are on one team, and they're not going to, fall to just some random put together, jobber team. So it's going to be Dustin, Sammy, and all those guys.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy one. And then in the other match for the pre-show, a little bit more of this definitely has a big time storyline going in, and they're playing this into the all out match between Statlander and Willow. You got Statlander and Stokely versus Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii. If this match was occurring just on social media, this would be like Brock Lesnar versus Akira Tozawa, because Statlander and Stokely Hathaway are absolutely dominating on social media. I don't even know if Willow has a social, honestly. Because I see Stokely and Chris Statlander all the time in my feed. I do not see the other two. But again, should be a good match. Should be a spot fest for sure. And as we mentioned, there will be implications. The winning team will choose the stipulation of the match between Nightingale and Statlander and all that. For that reason, I just think it's way funnier if Statlander and Hathaway get to pick the stipulation and kind of manipulate that situation. So for that reason, I think this will be a spot fest. And I think do not be surprised if both these matches kind of go out of their way to kind of steal the show, because this is obviously like a super show essentially. But I got Statlander and Hathaway. Parthy, what do you got? Let's go around the horn here.
Yeah, I'm feeling what you're feeling. The heels usually would be the ones to be able to choose the stipulation in a 1-versus-1 stipulation choose match. Like if it was just one team, like remember when Punk was able to choose the stipulation for his match with MJF and he made his dog collar match or whatever. But now this is going either way, and usually you lean towards the heels in this matter. Also, if you remember, if you noticed on Collision when the challenge was made, Statlander eagerly accepted it on Stokely's behalf, even though Stokely had this terrified look in his eyes, like, what are you getting me into? So I think Stat has a little something up her sleeve. What? I don't know exactly right now. And we may have gotten a little preview on last night's Collision where Stat basically body slammed Stokely onto their opponents. I don't even know who the heck they were. They were jobbers or someone. And that's how they got the win. Stokely actually got the pin in that scenario. So, and we also had a pre-show mixed tag match with Willow and Statlander and a couple other people like 2 pay-per-views ago. And Willow went over on that one. So I think Stat gets this one back to set up their all-out match. So I think, yeah, Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway with some kind of weird shenanigans at the end.
Yeah, I was thinking before coming into the show, I was thinking Nightingale, but just because Statlander has the last win, might as well give Willow one. But you guys have made some great points, very unusual for people of this show. Usually I make the great points. But I think I'm going to go with Statlander and Stokely. I think, as you guys are saying, heels usually have the better stipulations. So I'll go Statlander and Hathaway.
Yeah, you guys pretty much have summed it up. Why does the Prophet get the
Intern.
spotlight when he's not even fucking
Intern? That's strike 2.
Trashes us and then gets it put right back on him. And then he's got his mute on too. Oh my god!
Why would that be a strike 2? Prophet, you love that. You love being the star of the show. The camera's back on you. What do you got, Slick?
This show sometimes, man, I gotta tell you. But I think this is perfect for Statlander and Stokely to get the win because obviously the one making the stipulation is Stokely. I mean, he might say him and Chris consulted about it, but it's just a perfect way to give him like a promo where he picks the most ridiculous stipulation for this all-out match. And like you said, Maniac, him and Stat have been comedic gold on social media and on TV lately. And Partham, you forgot to mention in Collision, Stokely got that pin because he hit his opponent with a fucking power bomb that rattled the entire arena out there in Cardiff. So he needs his props where they're due. And Chris and Stokely are going to pick up another dub on this card tonight.
All right, let's get into the main show, and let's start. So, I mean, this is gonna be a banger. We said it. You said it best, Slick. This really is like AEW's WrestleMania because this card is packed top to bottom, banger after banger. With that said, the patriarchy. You got Kill Switch, Nick Wayne, and Christian Cage with Mother Wayne versus the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn versus House of Black versus Pac and BCC. This is going to be madness. We're talking about a 4-way match for the trios titles. Is it possible
Jay White match?
Isn't this a ladder match as well?
Oh, it's a ladder match?
Wow. A London ladder match.
Yeah, Christian was bragging last night at how he's the godfather of ladder matches.
Okay,
he's London got a great case for it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That goes without saying. But will the patriarchy be able to hold on to the titles amidst all of this craziness? Parthi, why don't we start off with you and we'll go around the horn back up to me. Are the patriarchy going to be able to take care of business in London?
Yeah, I think the patriarchy still has the momentum here. I mean, the Bang Bang Gang sort of they're waiting for Jay White to get healthy and get back. Maybe he'll go on a singles run. Maybe that's when the Bang Bang Gang will get their trios titles back with Juice Robinson being the third guy. But it seems pretty thrown together, especially with Pac and BCC. It's just get Pac on the show at where he missed it last year. The one angle that I'm looking at is Killswitch not being handed a title belt by Christian Cage. He's handing it to Mother Wayne instead. And I think we've seen teases of Killswitch, a.k.a. Luchasaurus, being disrespected by Christian Cage. And that's a tease for a future turn of him on Christian. So I think we got to fulfill that by keeping the trios titles on the patriarchy for the time being. So I think the patriarchy is going to go over and win.
I'll be short and simple. There's only one godfather of ladders. I'm going with the patriarchy.
Wow. Okay. I am going to go off. This is where, so all in, Tony Khan's going to pull out all the tricks. He's got rabbits in the hat, especially across the pond. A lot of people came to see this spectacle. And with the hints of Julia Hart on a plane yesterday, maybe on her way to London, I think we might see a return there, and some Mother Wayne might get some mist in the face. My sources are telling me we're going to see a lot of shenanigans. Bang Bang Gang, obviously comedy. And like you said, Parthy, Pac's kind of just there to be on the show. Kind of with the BCC doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm going to go with the House of Black. And then we might get some more patriarchy House of Black feud at All Out. Maybe even Julia Hart versus Mother Wayne in the ring. Who knows?
Okay. I like that logic. I like that logic. But what I like more is the idea that all these teams are just going to do spots all over spots, all over spots, all over spots. You might get a returning Julia, Hart. You might get. Is it possible Jay White finds his way into this match somehow if shit gets really crazy, like comes into her spot? I think everyone else blows up, and at the end of the day, it might be using Kill Switch's corpse to hold down the ladder, but it's gonna literally be Christian Cage exhausted, climbing to the top, exhausted, can barely breathe, can't even move, grabbing the belt. It's much to the chagrin of the London crowd. So I got the patriarchy slick with a chance to gain a pick on everybody if the House of Black can get it done. So we'll see what happens there.
You know what I think about that angle, though? Like, if Christian were to do that in London, the godfather of ladders, I wouldn't even be mad my pick lost, because that would just be...
They call this cinema.
That is true. That could be good. With that said, cinema, we're at the end of the road. We're at the end of the film here for Hook. Last chance match for the FTW Championship. Chris Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith, and Hook. I will kick it off on this one. Last chance match makes me think that Hook is winning this. I don't think Hook is ever going to be completely beaten down in AEW. He's kind of like the underdog. He's kind of like the suave, guy. So with that said, I think Hook wins this, and we see the beginning of, the angry learning tree from Chris Jericho, like where Big Bill, and Brian Keith are more like, just trying to survive behind the scenes, like, things like that. So I got Hook over Chris Jericho in a very classic match. Slick, what do you got?
Yeah, I want to pick against Hook just because of the fact that I think they should get him away from the FTW Championship and try to maybe put him in bigger spots. But it just doesn't make sense for him to lose this match, especially with Big Bill and Brian Keith ringside. You think he's going to overcome all odds and get it done. And like you said, we'll see that maniacal, slow blow up of the angry learning tree. So I'm going to go with Hook, but I just got to mention Big Bill, so over across the pond.
WrestleMania main event.
Honestly, has anybody ever said that? Because that's a great new talking point if it hasn't been said. I mean, you look at that reaction to Big Bill, and I might be going out on a limb here. Call me crazy, but that looks like a guy who can main event a WrestleMania.
Yeah, bro, people are starting to realize you were on the train way before anyone. So
I was buying Tesla stock when Elon Musk was in diapers, basically.
Yeah, literally.
When it comes to Big Bill. All right. With that said, so are we a clean sweep on Hook, or did I just jump the gun?
You just
the bottom two picks.
Oh my god!
Slick got me fired up by the Big Bill talk. I'm sorry.
It's easy to do.
This right here is bullshit.
Hey, Rob, when it comes to your picks,
I'm interested.
It's a redeemer.
All right. Well, here we go. So, I just want to,
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
all right, go.
Oh God!
And the first, this is what I'm thinking when Chris Jericho picks up a mic.
Who the hell told you tonight was open mic night, bitch?
I will do anything to cue up that one clip. He'll be like, "Did someone say it was open mic night, bitch?" And then he'll just play that one.
Another thing that I'm thinking when the learning tree comes on.
Who the fuck wrote this bullshit?
All right, get into
All
it.
right. Well played, Rob.
That's not the intern. That's
All right.
Strike on the
well, for this match, Hook is going to be winning the FTW Championship back, and then Big Bill, main event caliber, is going to turn on the learning tree.
I like that.
Wow. Let's do it.
All right. Well, just for my opinion on the learning tree whenever they come on,
I'm not feeling it.
simple as that. But this is what they've been building towards the whole summer ever since Hook lost his FTW title to Chris Jericho. It's Hook, the story of him coming back, getting it back. I think you got to keep Hook off the microphone a little bit more for the time being, because it works when Hook says little or says less or doesn't say anything at all and lets action speak louder than words. I wouldn't be surprised if Taz got a little bit involved in this match. I don't know if he's going to step out from the commentary table or come from the backstage or hit someone with a chair like Big Bill or Brian Keith, whatever their names are. But yeah, Hook's going to get his FTW redemption moment at All In.
Okay. So wait, Rob, you're on Hook though, or you're on Jericho to retain and then get turned down? I'm sorry.
I'm on Hook.
Okay, Hook. So Hook clean sweep across the board. The handsome devil. All right. With that said, let's go to our next match, which is this should be an interesting. And you want to talk about a spot fest? This is gonna literally be insane out of the membrane. You got the Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaimed, kind of tossing a little wild card into what has been a classic. Where are we right now between these two teams? A quadrilogy, a quintrilogy, because we're beyond a trilogy now, right?
Yeah, I think it's the quad, maybe even. Yeah.
What inning are we in between FTR and the Young Bucks? Top
Maybe
4?
Yeah, yeah, that's actually right where I was thinking. I was going to say bottom 3, so.
Yeah, okay. All right. So, with that said, AEW World Tag Team Championship, Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaimed. I think this one's easy. Young Bucks retain. They get the heel pop in front of the crowd. They really have never put themselves over as heels in front of anything. Even when they had like the Sting retirement match where they could have like really got some nuclear heat, they put Sting and Co. over. I'm putting the Young Bucks over in this spot. It what should be a very classic match. Again, like I'll probably say for a lot of matches on this card, but I got the Young Bucks. Slick, what do you got?
Yeah, it's interesting because the Young Bucks have had this little storyline with the Acclaimed. They've had the long-term one with the Acclaimed, and then you kind of just throw FTR into this match.
Yeah.
With no story, but at the same time, you have all the story because you've had so many historic matches between these two for these championship belts. FTR getting the win at All In London last year in the trilogy, I believe. Always fun to watch the two. This is just adding a bit of spice to it, and I think I agree with you that the EVPs are going to come out on top. Don't see the Acclaimed winning, and FTR took it last year, so Young Bucks, maybe Kazuchika Okada makes himself present in this match. Who knows? This will definitely be really good match, though. And the Acclaimed have not been getting the respect they deserve lately, so hopefully they have a good showing as well. But I'm going Young Bucks.
I mean, it's pretty obvious how this match will go. I mean, the Young Bucks literally produce AEW. Are they really going to book themselves to lose a match? No way, Baxter or Buckster or whatever that line is, whatever, screw that. Young Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks put over FTR last year, so I think it's time for the Bucks to get the return favor this year. And it's weird because the Acclaimed and FTR at one point or another, they were both tag team champions with a lot of popularity, a lot of momentum, and it's just seemed to fallen off for them. Probably not in any small part due to half of each team not being able to shut their mouths on social media or wherever else. I think there's still some goodwill for both teams, but there's not enough momentum to justify putting the belts on them. So I think the Young Bucks will retain.
I want to make a prediction as well. I think that both FTR and the Acclaimed will have the Young Bucks beat for like a 3 to 5 count that like the arena goes like nuts for and counts. And it'll actually cause them to hate each other more coming out of this. They're going to have a bigger feud coming out of this because they'll both think they were cost a victory over the Young Bucks by the other team. But another clean sweep on the board. Kind of surprising. I do not think that will be the case for this next match on the card. I didn't even know it was happening until I saw. But boys, grab your chips and close your bank accounts because we got a casino gauntlet match for the future AEW World Championship. So Gauntlet, that makes me think anything can happen because that last person's music can hit. They could just be a massive, brute, and it can basically be over. So I think this is a perfect opportunity. Let's let our head of the table, who always has diligence, who always has, a great perspective. Why don't you spill out, what your thought process is going into these picks, Parthy, and who you got for the Casino Gauntlet match. Reminder for all of our viewers, this match will likely feature over 5 wrestlers, at which point this pick becomes what's called a free roll. You can only win. You can only go 1-0 by getting it correct. If you get it incorrect on a 5-person or more match, it does not count against a person's record. Parthy, take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Maniac, for reminding everybody of that. Yeah, there's some random guys in this match. I think Orange Cassidy is going to be leading it off. So many members of what they call the conglomeration are probably going to be in this, have already been announced for this. But the main character in this, and some argue the main character of AEW, is Hangman Adam Page. And his journey back to challenging for the AEW World title. Not to mention, this is a cash-in, they mentioned last night on Collision, for the AEW World Championship. Not so much like a Money in the Bank, like anytime, anywhere, but you can basically call your shot. So it doesn't have to be at the next pay-per-view like All Out or at Grand Slam. It can be whenever the winner wants it to be. So I think Hangman's going to keep this in his back pocket because of a certain result that I expect later in the night and a preference that Hangman's going to want to have for his title opportunity. I think Hangman's going to win this. He's basically the biggest star that's been announced so far in this match. We'll definitely see some nice surprises and some maybe a return or two if randomly or whatever. But Hangman will win this.
Yeah. Oh my God, the goddamn intern.
Hangman winning would be cinema, but Hangman not winning would also be cinema. Go ahead, Rob.
All right. This match was made to just get a bunch of people on the card. Obviously, their big match. There's only one star that's this match is made for, and as you know, Parthy stole my choice as usual. It was made for Hangman Adam Page. Obviously, he's been like that third person in that main event feud. It's kind of been weird of where they're going with that, but this was made for him, so I'm going with Adam Page.
Yeah, I think that might be the most obvious part of this match, but the interesting part that we're all going to look forward to is really the participants and how out of hand this can totally get. If there's ever like absolute mayhem in an AEW match, it's always the Casino Gauntlets. I'm going to go and make a prediction. We get the debut of Ricochet in AEW in this match. SRS is very deliberate when he announces that a wrestler has signed with AEW, is returning to AEW, and that's usually because he's in direct cahoots with the wrestler themselves. He was like, he very well could be all in. To me, that just says, don't you see the writing on the wall? We get Ricochet in this match. Not predicting this officially, but Bobby Lashley? Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh,
You could also say his name and he'll appear anytime, any place, any show.
Yeah, well, when you're about to challenge for the NXT World Championship, I don't know about all that, Rob. But
what is Bobby Lashley's all elite personality? Bobby L. Ashley.
I heard
Robert
that I
Lashley.
heard that him and MVP want to come to a different promotion and get the Hurt Business reunited. So
Robert Lashley.
I mean, out of everything, the way the Hurt Business was handled about 3 years ago is one of the most incomprehensible situations in booking that's ever happened. They broke them up, and then Bobby Lashley retained at WrestleMania or whatever. It made literally no fucking sense.
Supposedly Ricochet was supposed to be in the Hurt Business, and like McMahon said no.
Yeah, is it possible that we get the return of Wardlow?
Yes,
they put Wardlow on ice just like they put Ricky Starks on ice. It would be nice. It would be.
Okay.
I'd like to see it, but I don't think.
I just feel like if that music hits like 3 or 4 spots in, that's your classic. Like, we got a new favorite in the gauntlet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he takes the straps out. He just like slammed the fuck. Like, and it's a perfect, like, you can run Orange Cassidy in a great, like, like underdog spot where he beats a couple of people and he's like, whoever's in the ring is like heavy breathing and this is war hits or whatever. I just feel like it could be a good spot. But yeah, I got Hangman Adam Page the other day. The odds, it's like he's got to be a pick 'em at best. Like, so it doesn't make sense to pick against him.
It
That's
could
But
be,
Wardlow is my long range sleeper pick.
it could be a good spot too for more like meat, like Will Hobbs and Miro. Like you said, Orange Cassidy maybe taking out a big horse or two. Also, with the Casino Gauntlet, is this over the top rope elimination or is this pinfall?
No, it's one fall to a finish. First pinfall. However many guys get in the ring.
These are just absolute mayhem.
Oh, that's actually insane. What the fuck?
Oh, I forgot that's how that works. Yeah, they always get in the ring. It's not.
Because sometimes they have casino like ladders, casino rumbles.
Now I'm predicting that Adam Page will not even get into this match, and the pinfall is going to happen. He's going to say he's screwed and he got robbed. Now that's absolutely how that's going to happen. I'm sorry,
especially too,
because
I was going to mention we kind of glazed over the storyline where he doesn't still feel like he's done anything wrong. He's coming out of the face tunnel when clearly he's been like the biggest asshole in the company.
The face tunnel is so fucking funny, dude.
So
it is literally hysterical.
If he came out of the face tunnel like as the last Joker or something, and then just like sat like in the corner or on the steel steps till like he had the perfect pinfall opportunity, it would be perfect to line up with the story.
But I was just thinking for this match, isn't there like a jackpot number? That's when the match actually starts.
No, it starts from the first two competitors. It's like the Royal Rumble.
I thought there's like a jackpot pick though, or something that like it's special powers or something like that.
I don't remember that.
I don't know.
Well, I will say, Slick, good call on this being the spot where Ricochet debuts, because I was expecting maybe Pac to make an open challenge and he can have a one-on-one match with Ricochet, but this is the perfect place to have a debut or return or anybody that wants to get in on it.
If you have Ricochet debut, you have him do like all the craziest shit in his arsenal as soon as he touches the ropes or the apron, because he's been waiting to do that for a while. I mean, Triple H let him let loose a bit, but goddamn, if you've seen Ricochet versus Will Ospreay back in the day, like you're in for some shit if you see him in AEW on this card.
Dude, I also forgot that Evil Uno like kind of finagled his way into the match and just like pissed off Adam Page even more. And I feel like at a certain point during this match, something's gonna happen between those two, because Adam Page used to be big with the Dark Order.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because the last time I checked, the Dark Order had a falling out with Adam Page, at least on screen. They were saying, his name is Voldemort. We did not even speak to them. And all of a sudden, Uno just shows up backstage and, we're buddies again. And 2 seconds later, they're not, because Adam Page knocks him out with a chair. But I don't know.
Sometimes it's like they're not ready to pull the trigger on something that's happening like beyond the elite or whatever, or whatever. Sorry, whatever the iteration's called now. But then sometimes it translates so well till they do it right away and they act like it's like kayfabe. So sometimes it's a little inconsistent there. I give you that. But something that hasn't been inconsistent. Woo, boy, this is gonna be a doozy.
You made the glass
match for AEW TNT Championship. Yeah, the glass will be real in this one, that's for sure. Jack Perry with his custom belt versus Darby Allin. The glass will be real. There will be an absolute cringe spot. Someone will get lit on fire in this match. I mean, I'm going to be cringing during this match at some point for sure. But Jack Perry versus Darby Allin, I'll kick it off. I got Darby. I think that Jack Perry can continue to be the scapegoat, kind of crazy person. I know. I like Darby to get a big win here. I don't know. I think that he needs a belt. There's been some little rumblings. I saw a dirt sheet rumbling that Darby could be kind of like, in the hole for the AEW championship. And I think that maybe this is a nice segue to kind of put him on ice for 6 to 9 months, let him have a championship and see how he like kind of can present that and everything as a champion, to kind of have a test run for that. So that's where I'm going with that pick. That's my logic going into it. I got Darby Allin, and I know that there's kind of a good angle to keep all the belts in the Elite Young Bucks faction. Obviously, I get that. But I got Darby Allin. Slick, who do you got?
I mean, people remember AEW All in London as the birth of the scapegoat. And you don't have him lose the second year, the first year being the scapegoat, saving the company from the tick that was Phil Brooks. So you got Jack Perry going over here. And Real glass, like you said, will be used. I want all your opinions on odds that he will look at the camera and say like some form of pun, reflecting back on that comment that made him.
Oh, they're
scapegoat.
they're gonna do something. They're gonna do something for sure. I was gonna let's go the round table picks, and then let's make our prediction for how they'll signal CM Punk in this match.
So where should I go for this? This is gonna be a banger. It's gonna be bang.
Also, I just
bang
wanted to
it.
say real
It's a
quick,
banger.
I can't wait for people on Twitter to be like, "Oh, this is why AEW isn't real wrestling." Spots like this. This is the match where all those people come out. So I can't wait. Sorry, Prophet.
You should be. But I think I'm gonna also go Darby. I just think, go back to the scapegoat, and I think Darby needs that like singles run. Obviously he had the tag titles because with Sting, but I think it's time for him to like take a step. And Jack Perry doesn't need a title to the scapegoat; he could just be with the Elite and just doing his thing. So, and I think there's gonna be glass. I think there's gonna be maybe a backstage segment with sound. I think it's gonna be a whole thing of just shitting on Punk on this match.
Sometimes you guys make this so easy. Jack Perry just made a custom title like Maniac said. You think he's going to lose it right away? Darby Allin's like, what, a 2 or 3 time TNT champion? Doesn't need a 4th reign as TNT champion. Now, he's never lost a coffin match before, but that's to Jack Perry's benefit when he does beat him in the coffin match. And there's going to be glass, there's going to be fire, there's going to be thumbtacks attached to the coffin or whatever sick freak mind things are going on in both of these guys' minds. But and there's going to be glass references. There's going to be fire. There's going to be spots. But this is to ultimately try to further get over the scapegoat Jack Perry. And Darby Allin's, I think, a good foil for that. Darby's basically been torturing him the last couple of months or so. And this is where Jack Perry gets one over. And the titles do stay in the Elite for the time being.
All right. Before I say this, I just got to play this because Parthy was doing. Well, after I say what I say, this Parthy's going to be saying this.
I prayed for this and it happened.
I have to change my pick.
Oh, never mind.
Screw that. Nah, fuck that. Never mind. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it. I can't do that. I can't lie. I cannot. Because this is how I feel when I speak on this show. And this is how you guys have to agree.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'm keeping Darby.
Okay. But just remember who
that
else
was so
is on
sketchy.
this show.
I'm the head of the table.
That was very sketchy by Rob. The only thing sketchier would be a certain bruv winning the AEW American Championship. We got a banger. MJF going against Will Ospreay. This is going to go into the crowd. Oh, by the way, real quick. I absolutely expect with this TNT Championship match, I think that Darby Allin's music is going to hit to like start the entrances, and he's not going to come out, and the cameras are going to rush into the back, and they're going to be fighting in Gorilla right on top of Tony Khan, like literally right on top of his desk. And they're going to be like a camera rush it. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to rush the camera like through Gorilla. You're going to see they're going to literally be already fighting.
They should have Tony like in the back verbally speaking up like, guys, just put it in the ring. And Perry goes over to Tony Khan, gets right in his face and goes, "Cry me a river, you mark." And then just goes back out to the ring. And then Tony's like doing the whole fear for his life shit again. My goodness.
I believe it. But anyone got any other predictions for CM Punk shoutouts in there? Parthy, do you think there'll be a CM Punk shoutout in the match?
Of course, because CM Punk is still the biggest draw in AEW, and he's still the main character of everything involving Jack Perry and the Young Bucks. So why wouldn't they?
I think the second point's fair. I think the first one's not, but we'll go on. With that said, we got MJF versus Will Ospreay. I got Parthy. Why don't you start us off here?
Will Ospreay. I mean, MJF's bastardized the international title. This is Will Ospreay's match in Will Ospreay's country. He's going to get a big pop. He's going to finally get that title back. He's going to probably, I don't know how he's going to pull the international title. Maybe he'll have it at ringside and have it in like a bag or something. He'll pull it out and I don't know if you want to dump the American title in the trash and then go back to America and face the American crowd. Because as much as MJF is taking this and making it, a very egotistical American champion, like you America doesn't count. It's just Long Island. You still don't want to throw away necessarily the American championship, but you do want to pull back the international title once he wins it. So it's going to be another banger match, of course, just like it was before, and Ospreay's going to prevail.
First, who the hell stole MJF's ring? This is nonsense.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
He's the American champion
you're
being
you're the
disrespected
biggest
in
fucking
England.
mark. You're the biggest fucking mark if you think that ring was stolen. It's in his fucking.
Jericho had his title
right
stolen.
now.
It can happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think
what
MJF
odds do you
would
want?
lie?
What odds do you? I'll give you any odds that ring will be on MJF's finger at one point during this.
Yeah,
I'll give you any odds.
Do you think MJF would lie?
Of course.
I don't think they would do it.
Delusional.
I don't think they would do this angle on social media. I don't think it would start something like that, like the day before, the day of, if it was meant to play into the match.
Are you Percy? Are you fucking serious?
Yes.
We're talking about it right now as a match preview. It's like
Fucking Mark!
Wasn't me.
About
That wasn't me.
MJF, he
not
doesn't
me.
do anything, social media, starting something on social media. If he wanted to start an angle where, I've lost the diamond ring, and then one of his buddies just happens to come in from the crowd and, he has the diamond ring that I just happen to not have, so you can't say that I'm trying to cheat. You can't, search me.
Maybe he'll have an interview during the pre-show talking about it. Then
MJF doesn't have buddies part them. He's not Logan Paul. He doesn't have his bruvs sitting ringside with.
I just love how in this case it has to be true because MJF has never done like a social media storyline before. But in the previous match, Darby Allin's never lost a coffin match, and that's why it's perfect for Jack Perry to win, and that's why it has to happen. Great job, Marco Partham. With that said,
I'm leading in picks.
You got Ospreay, you got Bruv. Yeah, I got you.
All right,
Rob, you got Bruv too as well, or you got MJF?
Well, I don't know. Well, let's consider it.
Oh.
He's the MJF, the American champion. How
Let's
great
talk
would it
about
be to beat England one more time? However,
we got Micah Sweatpants
it was a good
Joe.
run, but I'm going with Bruv.
We got Micah Sweatpants Joe and Straw all on Ospreay.
I'm going Bruv.
If you think MJF had a good entrance last year which he did, came out on the throne with like girls bowing down to him with this devil mask on, I think he might come out with like a U.S. Army like rendition band playing or something ridiculous. But ultimately, the Bruv is not going to lose at Wembley Stadium, and that title is going back to the international championship.
I agree.
As soon as he gets it.
This is a Bruv sweep, and it'll be something for sure. So we've had a lot of sweeps. Let's look at this next match. TBS Championship. Does anybody have Britt Baker?
No.
Okay. So then the question becomes, is this over 17 minutes as far as a match, and is it a good match? So Parthy, why don't you start us on those two topics? Is it going to go over 15 to 17 minutes and will it be a good match? Any interference, any craziness?
I think it'll go over 17 minutes because most of these matches on the big AEW pay-per-views go at least 20 minutes or so. I think that Mercedes, this should be her strength, is on a big stage in the ring telling us an in-ring story. But I think we're bearing the lead. The question isn't how long the match is going to go or how good it's going to be. The question is what's going to happen afterward or who else might be getting involved. A certain Brit that we haven't seen in a long time? Do we have any haters in the house?
Oh my God.
The only question is, it's been coming out, because Brits have been having, these issues backstage. Some people don't like her, and that's been documented in the past. But now we hear of a falling out between her and Jamie Hayter that's been happening. We don't know if that happened in the interim where both have been injured out long term or what. If they were to do that, if they were to bring Hayter in, I think they would have Britt be defeated and no post-match beatdown. She just kind of slicks out of the ring, and Mercedes is posing with the title, and all of a sudden we hear Jamie Hayter's music cue up, and then that face-off goes down. Not necessarily Hayter coming out to save Britt, unless they want to be professional and work together again.
I think it goes 17 minutes, but do we see Hayter in this match, or do we see her after the next one? Because remember, Slick brought her up earlier. There's one Julia Hart also supposedly in London, and is she coming back for her title? There was that feud with her and Mercedes that never really went anywhere. So there's Hayter in the wings, and there's also Hart in the wings.
It's a really good point.
Hmm.
Are you still going with Mercedes though?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We're all going.
Yeah, oh yeah. My bad. So I think this Maniac that 17 minutes is like the perfect number because I think like it barely goes over it. And I think the answer to the question that Partham proposed is this is absolutely the spot that Jamie Hayter comes back. I don't think we know too much about the Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter stuff, if that's even real. I'm not going to read too much into that, but I wouldn't even be surprised if Britt Baker stuck around in this story as the backup to Jamie Hayter when she goes into this feud with Mercedes. I think we get an amazing pop for Hayter with one of like the most electric entrance songs ever in England, and then we get a feud out of her and Mercedes, a good face-off. But yeah, this will also be a great match to answer that question. But yeah, Jamie Hayter comes back.
Yeah, just like every other match of the card, I think this will be a spot fest. I think Britt Baker loses in a classic, and then they use that to kind of trampoline, like you guys are saying, to either a Hart or a Hayter angle. We're building out the women's division in AEW versus, it was only 2 to 3 years ago. People were saying there was only one star in there. And now we could be looking at, 3 to 5 after, what happens in this next match as well. So with that said, clean sweep for Mercedes. And this next match, oh my God.
Here we go.
Here we go.
It's so tough.
You gotta take that fantasy book and shit somewhere.
I'll kick it off.
Yeah,
I'll kick it off. Yeah, I'll kick it off. My heart, and I would do anything if I could, wants Toni Storm to win this match. Wants Toni Storm to be victorious and continue this great glamorous reign that has been amazing and this character transformation that's been awesome. With that said, it does seem like this is a passing of the torch situation. And with my brain, I'll be forced to pick Mariah May in this match to be winner at AEW All In. And also, it seems like this was kind of maybe Tony's plan from the beginning, obviously, when you do a storyline like this. So, I mean, this is Tony's spot to put her over and make her look like $1 million. So, hopefully they're able to do that. I got Mariah May. Slick, who you got?
Yeah, you said glamorous reign, which you need to chill with because the real glamour is Mariah and May, and it's all about Mariah. This is an insane homecoming spot. Imagine you're barely in your first year in AEW, and here you are, probably tied into the best long-term women's story maybe they've ever done, besides like Britt and Thunder Rosa. And now you are basically main eventing for the women, Wembley Stadium in front of your home crowd. Not even a year into AEW for the women's world title. The time is now, per se. It's all about Mariah. The glamour gets the dub.
Yeah, I would say this is one of the best storylines they've had in all of AEW. It's definitely the best women's one, I'd say, but I think it could be like top like 10-ish in all of AEW. But yeah, I think it's time for the glamour, Mariah May, to get that title. And Toni had a great run, a great character shift when she became timeless. But it's time to hand it off to her prodigy.
When it involves timeless Toni Storm, and you're basically following the storyline of a very old classic cinema movie, I mean, this is not just figurative; it's very literal.
They call this cinema.
And it's going to end with it all being about Mariah, as Slick said.
And as I said with the very first pick of it, but that's okay. No need to point fingers. All right, with that said, it's main event time. Title versus rare match Will Birdie be happy and finally have a father at home full time, or will her dad continue to travel around grappling other men with the championship, as Bryan Danielson? Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana for the AEW World Championship. I'll give the honors to our head of the table, Mike Partham, and we'll go around the horn. Who do you got? Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson. This is a lot tougher than it was to me a couple weeks ago, honestly, this pick.
Well, I've got the quote here from Bryan Danielson as of April of this year. Quote, after I am no longer wrestling full-time, that will be different. Unless something happens medically, I'll never retire. Now, will it be my best work? I don't know. And he just goes on. But basically, he's made it very clear that he doesn't want to just straight up retire like Sting has earlier this year. I think Bryan's got a few more matches in him, but he'll want to space them out in order to give himself time to recover. He's going to need to have surgery on his neck, as he mentioned, but I think he's got enough in him for a few more matches. We've got Wrestle Dynasty coming up in his home state, and I think Darby is meant to be challenging for the AEW World Title at Grand Slam, so that's another first-time match between two Washington boys. So I think we're going to see a short title reign from Bryan Danielson, but we're going to see the American Dragon going on top, not because he wants to, but because I learned my lesson earlier this year from picking the Young Bucks over Sting and Darby on Sting's retirement match. And we learned later on that Sting would have graciously put the Young Bucks over, especially with their heel EVP angle going on. But Tony insisted he wants Sting to go on top, and I think he wants Bryan Danielson to go on top with a world title win and a world title run, starting it all in. So, no, we're not going to see the last of Bryan Danielson here. I think he's going to win the world title. It's going to be a nice moment for him and his family. And we'll see him, in the next couple months, have a couple of title defenses. And by the end of the year, he'll drop it to somebody else. Maybe he'll drop it back to Swerve. Maybe he'll drop it to Hangman for all we know. But and then he'll go get his surgery by the end of the year. And we'll see him more on a Brock Lesnar type of schedule, coming back every once in a while for a big match. But I think right now, they're going to give Bryan Danielson his moment at All In and a world title run.
Yeah, I think how this match is going to start before the match even begins is they're going to have a little swerve on us, I'll say. And I think Tony Khan's going to pay the 250K, or was it 200K? I forgot which one. And Bryan Danielson's going to have Final Countdown as his entrance song. So it's going to be like, oh my God, this is it. But then the American Dragon's going to defy all odds, and he's going to go out on top, and he's going to win the title.
Rob, you bring a good point to the table, because AEW literally posted a graphic earlier of the world title match, and it says the Final Countdown on it. So we get the song, and as Partham made a great point as well, Tony Khan is just known to do these things, to make these special moments. And this is just the final stamp on Bryan Danielson's career. And it's going to be ultimately lifting the AEW World Title in Wembley Stadium to a historic yes chant. But I do agree with Partham. This title reign is not long. I wouldn't even be surprised if he goes away very quickly to get that surgery. And this is just to say he was AEW World Champion. And I think, I'm not officially predicting this, but pay very close attention to how Adam Page could possibly play a role into this match if he does win that world title shot that we've been told is almost like a cash-in scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tease that it might. But ultimately, I think Bryan Danielson lifts the title.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hangman got involved in this match. The curious thing is, would he want to screw Swerve Strickland over out of the title, or would he want to screw Bryan so that Swerve keeps the title so he can be the one to beat Swerve? And I'm not sure, because he's a little loopy right now. I'm not sure what the logic is going on in Hangman's head.
I think my most likely one that I was alluding to is like Bryan winning, having like the great moment, the great celebration, and then like almost hit like a WWE Punk return, like hit the trademark thing and everything, and then like out comes Adam Page. Just saying, that would be funny, but I don't know. I think you give Bryan the moment, and then maybe till like All Out.
So all three of you are American Dragoning.
Yes. Yes. Where are you at, Maniac?
Where you at, Maniac?
I
He's
mean,
deliberating.
I'm going. I'm going Swerve Strickland.
Ooh.
Woo!
I think that
Bryan.
Daniel Bryan will be done. This is a 3-year run in AEW. Had a great run, 1,000 days. Did great job for the company. Had some classic matches. He could still come back in like a Legends role. He could probably go back to either company now in a Legends role. I mean, I don't think WWE would say he can't come back, and I don't think AEW would say he can't come back even if he went back to WWE. So, yeah, I think that'll be very interesting to see. But I think that you guys are putting it like like this is gonna be his swan song, his like last couple of months. I think his swan song is finishing his story the right way. This guy has always been so realistic about the situation that he's in, like whether it was when he couldn't medically wrestle in WWE, when he was on Talking Smack, talking with like Miz and stuff like that. It's all just been all very realistic. And I think that the most realistic thing is for him to have a classic match where he's just not as good as the best that AEW has to offer. And that elevates Swerve Strickland to a superstar status. You would hope if you're AEW, it does. And it cements him there. So I'll take Swerve Strickland as the opportunity to gain 3 picks on you boys. But yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, like I said, going into the picks, it is not. Have you guys switched over the last couple of weeks? I definitely thought it was obviously going to be Swerve going into it, and now the closer we get to it, I think there's more of a chance for Danielson for sure.
As soon as Bryan put his career on the line, that's when I pretty much knew, Bryan's gonna win.
Me too.
Yeah, I've stayed Bryan most of the time, but I have been more inclined as we've got to this point that Swerve has a very legitimate chance. And Maniac, the case you made just made a lot of sense to me. It made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense while Maniac was saying it. Because I was totally on the thing, like Tony Khan might insist, but like if Bryan Danielson insists, I think that's who gets the final say. And that has been his entire AEW career, is making sure other guys get put in the position to be superstars.
If it was Bryan's final word, then I would agree with Maniac and you, Slick. But it's Tony Khan's final word, and we know what he is.
You fucking mark.
Or is it Matthew and Nicholas Jackson's final word?
It might be Excalibur's or Jim Ross's or Taz's final word, but you've heard the final word from us here on Wrestling with Emotion, All In Prediction Show. What are we, just about a half hour away? The pre-show's underway?
Yes, sir.
All right, so folks, tune in, strap in. It's All In Sunday. Thank you for tuning along on Wrestling with Emotion. Parthy, Prophet Rob Bryan, Big Slick, myself. It is not the show where it's wrestling with your conscience. It is not the show where it's wrestling with your budget. It's the show where it's wrestling with emotion.
And you better watch for the shoe.
Yeah, the shoe's going to be